one priority.
Number one priority. So
okay, right.
Start with reward. Always lead with reward. If you want to lose weight, pin up pictures. Let's say you're a single guy or a single woman. Pin up pictures on your refrigerator of all the people or the quality of people you could have dated but never got the chance because you let yourself go. Because make no mistake, and don't let any pain avoiding delusion enter into your brain. People care what you look like physically. I just read this amazing book, Compelling People, by the two Harvard guys. They have a whole section, how the brain and how humans are definitely manipulated by how you look. So next time you can't willpower your way. You know, the one thing, Gary Keller, is a lot of research that willpower is a very finite tool. Some of us have more. You can train yourself to have more, but it's definitely finite. Reward is never. I can go into a room and look everybody in the eyes and say, I promise you, you can get everything you want if you're lucky enough to not get hit by a car. But if you do the things that the smartest people in the world say and avoid the groupthink, you can be wealthy. To make $1 million business now, it's not the 80s where being a millionaire was hard. We've had deflation, 3 or 4%. It's not that hard to be. People are like, millionaire, I can't imagine.
So you said this yesterday in that room of 100.
I have about 135 listed. Read them in order. Okay. So read Dr. David Buss before you read, some modern one. I mean, read them in order. You must read in order to get the effect, or it won't work. So read Managing Oneself. I think I was number 1. Read, if you can afford it, David Buss. Read Richard Dawkins' Selfish Dream. Read Flow by Mihaly Csikszentmihalyi. Read Kon-Tiki. Read Jerry Weintraub, When I Stopped Talking.
I read that a few years back.
So you don't have to read exactly in the order, but don't skip to my number 110 book.
Okay.
Read them at least one book per line in those orders.
There's a method there.
And modulate around. So like Monday, read a health book. Tuesday, read a wealth book. Wednesday, read a love social book. Okay. Thursday, read a book on flow, like happiness. Okay. So I spin around and around, she goes. The good news is, all those of you who want mentorships, great mentors, all of you who want to raise investment money, you know how easy it is to raise investment money right now? But it's also almost impossible, because if you're impressive, if you walk up to people and you start talking about great ideas, association cognitive bias in their brain will associate you with Dr. David Buss. You will rise to his IQ. Trust it. I don't have the IQ of Dr. David Buss.
I think I gained that by interviewing people. I'm associated.
Exactly. So you're
visually.
Smart. That's why I say you need to do this daily.
You're probably right.
Do it daily. Try.
I could literally die. So they bring me back to the hospital. I spend 3 days in the hospital, and I'm like, I'm done. No more drugs. Okay, literally, I can't even recognize myself anymore. No more drugs. I'm done using drugs. Okay, guess what happens? I'm using drugs 15 minutes later, 10 times a day in the hospital. See, you would think, looking back, I would think this would be the day I would quit. For 2 more years, I would use drugs every day. Couldn't get out, couldn't quit. Okay. Look, nobody starts using drugs and thinks they're going to be a drug addict. I didn't. I started using drugs, and for some reason, something happened where those drugs just took over. My mom, at the age of 25, my mom says to me, "You're no longer welcome in my home. You're no longer welcome in my business. I don't want to see you anymore." And that was the day my life turned around. So 24 hours later, I was in a treatment center, because my mom had the courage to say, enough is enough, I'm done. Really, everybody was pretty much done with me at this point. You know, my older brother died when I was 20. So 3 years, well, I guess, yeah, 5 years before this, my older brother dies. He was worried about me. All I know at this point, I lost my dad when I was 10, I lost my brother when I was 20, I lost, I gave up my career and maybe I'm gonna be a baseball player to drugs. I've lost 5 or 6 jobs now, and I'm a loser, dude. I'm a total loser. But I do have this little light inside of me that says I'm special. I have this little thing inside of me that says, hey, you are special, you know? You have something. But it was just covered up in all this stuff and all these problems and in the drugs and the bad friends and the bad choices. So my mom finally says, enough is enough. Don't come back here anymore. I'm done. I could tell it was hard for her. I'm in a treatment center in the next 24 hours. I go to this treatment center. I'm there 30 days. For the first 30 days in 7, 8, 9 years, I don't use drugs. Oh, wow. I don't have to use drugs. Finally, that thing where I said I was quitting 10 times a day, for the first time in my life, I was able to quit successfully. I'm leaving the treatment center when the insurance ran out, because that's how those work. When the money runs out, they boot you to the curb. I'm terrified, scared to go back to society. I don't have any friends that aren't using drugs. My girlfriend was using drugs. Everybody around me, everybody I knew used drugs. And I'm going back to a job where even at the job I had, they used drugs. And I'm like, I'm going back to an environment. I have to cut off all my friends. Not really friends. I got to cut off all the enemies, right? And I got to start over. And before I leave, the counselor grabs me, and the counselor says to me, look, dude, I'll see you back here. Probably, you know, if you don't die, I'll see you back here. And I'm like, what are you talking about, dude? I'm not coming back here. And he's like, oh, no, you're coming back. And then he gives me the lecture. He's like, you'll never make it. See, when you go to a treatment center, you tell them everything about your life, like all your secrets, all your inhibitions, and your, you know, the things you want to do in your life, right? And so I'm telling them in this thing, everything I've done wrong. I share my whole life, but I also share with them what I want to do, my inspiration in life. I'm going to write books. I'm going to speak to audiences. I'm going to help people. I'm going to tell people this story about drugs and how damaging they are. And I'm going to be somebody, I tell them. And they're like, no, dude. You're a drug addict. And all you're ever going to be, this is what the counselor tells me, all you're ever going to be is a drug addict. You need to give up all the ideas of writing books, speaking to audiences, being rich. I always wanted to be rich. I wanted financially to be rich my whole life. I wanted to be my dad. I wanted to be the guy that could take care of his family. They said, you need to give up all those ideas and settle for one thing, not using drugs. If the day ends and you don't use drugs, Grant, that is a good day for you.